KMFM's UK Cycle Trek 2011.
You will be hearing a lot more of that as we launch tonight. Yes, it's the Marie Curie Cycle Trek from Land's End to John O'Groats in association with KMFM. And firstly, let's say hello to Amanda, who's the Kent fundraising officer for Marie Curie. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to see you again. Last year's big event, which was, of course, Kilimanjaro, which our very own man Steve Fountain here did, and a lot of people successfully, made that climb and raised lots of money for Kilimanjaro. So how did all that go?
It was absolutely fantastic, and I think I can probably speak for everybody that took part, no matter where they got to on the trek. It really was a life-changing experience, very special and absolutely fantastic. And I think just doing something with a group of people who you don't know, you certainly know them very well by the end. And it was really strange when I came home because I didn't have 36 people sitting around my breakfast table with me, and it's very difficult to get used to that. And I have lots of friends for life now.
Which is really cool, isn't it?
It is, it's lovely.
That's how it always sort of pans out. It's all about raising money for, of course, Marie Curie, cancer care. And I say cancer care and other forms of care too, because it's all sorts, isn't it?
Yes, we actually look after people with all terminal illnesses now. If we have the capacity to put a nurse into somebody's home who has any life terminal illness, so that could be Parkinson's, motor neurone disease, I mean the list goes on, because palliative care, which our nurses are experts in, that all kicks in and they can look after anybody at that stage, at end of life, and they're very special people, and I think people really appreciate having our nurses with them at that time.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk more about what we've come up with this time round, which is this incredible cycle ride from Land's End to John O'Groats, which you're doing as well, aren't you?
I am.
Good for you. Well, we'll talk more about that, and we've actually got somebody with us, Jeremy, who's done it before. But first of all, I want to speak to Frankie Henley, who's one of the Marie Curie nurses. So welcome very much to KMFM.
Thank you.
Without all the donations, Frankie, your work is not possible, is it? So describe a day for us, in your life. What are you doing? Describe a day in Frankie's life.
I work nights.
Okay.
So I'll describe the night. I get a phone call from our referral centre, and they tell me where I'm going to be going, either that night or the next night. And they tell me a little bit about the patient that I'm going to, what their prognosis is and their diagnosis and where they live, that sort of thing. And then in the evening before I leave for work, I will telephone the family and make sure that it's still okay for me to go there. So that's my first point of contact. It's an important telephone call. And then I set off from home. I work in a 25-mile radius from home. So I work in eastern and coastal Kent and also Medway. So it's a massive area. I cover from sort of Rochester and Strood all the way over to Dover, Ashford, Canterbury, Whitstable, Herne Bay. And so I don't really know where I'm going, although I've got my trusty sat-nav that gets me there, so that helps me feel safe. But I leave in the dark, and basically I don't know what I'm going to find when I get there.
No.
And so I ring on the doorbell, and we take it from there. And I put the picture into place gradually as the evening goes on, obviously explaining what my role is, and that I'm there to help somebody. Marie Curie's primary function, is to help people to die at home if that's what they want to do. A majority of people actually do want to be in their own home when they die, but it is a minority that manage to do that. So when Marie Curie nurses go in, we're there to help them feel safe in their home, and we'll take whatever it is, we'll do whatever it is that they want us to do.
Because their illnesses, whatever they are, it must affect them, and you must have come across this in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
You can't, as you say, you don't know what until you arrive, really. People...
Absolutely. And everybody has their own way of dealing with that. So it's not only the home, and every home environment is different, but every single person will face the end of life in a completely different way. and their families too.
That's right, because that's what it's about as well. It's about dealing with families and the friends too, isn't it? You're involved with them.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's a really big part of our nurses' role is to give care in whatever way is needed and support, and it gives the families, at the very least, it gives them a good night's sleep. And people are just very, very tired at that stage, and it means that if they have a good night's sleep, that emotionally they can be there in the daytime, more awake and not quite so ragged. People really are in quite desperate situations sometimes.